Welcome to our Wednesday Homestead Q&A for Bakers Green Acres and the Anyone Can Farm experience. And I'll be doing Wellness Wednesday for Abundant Living. So we're hitting a whole bunch of things tonight. Getting ready for our charcuterie class this weekend. So I gotta admit, I'm a little tired tonight because I finished cutting up all of our beef. Made a lot of round steaks because I didn't want to make a ton of burger, and I figured, the only thing you really need hamburger for is hamburgers. So anything else you can use stew meat, and I can just do up a round steak in my Instapot, and it's all good. And it's exciting to have so much beef. Beef is what's around right now. So Mark was getting the hanging room, so that's ready to go. So anyone who's coming on Saturday, brand new hanging room, and it'll be full of all the prosciuttos and pancetta, sausages. I didn't know if some of it would be ready, but it's gonna be, and it's gonna be good. We just did the menu for the class, and one of the things that we try to do with the menu is number one, highlight the animal itself and how you can use all the parts, different ways to cook it, make sure that you all get a good taste of excellent pork. So that's one of the goals, is to showcase the animal. The other goal that I've worked at is to provide the food in a very healthful way. So not only is it the meat, but the vegetables are the vegetables that are in season. And my son Joe and I have gone back and forth about this a little bit, but I try to serve the bigger meal in the midday, and then it's still a lot of food. We never go hungry, but a lighter supper that's just easier for the kitchen staff. And his idea was that we should have the steaks for supper. So that's what we're doing this time around. And for lunch, what we're having on Saturday is our charcuterie. So you can have a prosciutto sandwich. You can have a confit pork and chicken sandwich, or you can have all of the above. It's going to be kind of fun. It'll be different, and experiment. Always experimenting, always trying something new. And I'm actually pretty excited because it'll be fun to cut into the charcuterie that we made earlier this fall, even. The whole pig legs of prosciutto, of course, are from last year, but we made smaller pieces. So we took this leg apart into a couple muscle groups and just cured those, and they go pretty quick. I was looking at some of the pieces, they were a little bit smaller, but from October. So it's been October, November, December, January, February. So 4 months. They might not be, they looked pretty good. So I'll have to check the weights. Pieces should lose a third of the weight from when you hung them till when you go to use them. They should lose a third of their weight, and that's how you know that they're done. So I'll have to check their weights, but they looked about done. So we're going to eat some good food. We always do. We always do. We'll be eating healthy because we always do. Let's see. Okay. No one said, so I was a little worried there for a sec. But glad you guys are here. So our Wednesday evening, Wellness Wednesday, I'm going to talk about a little bit tools for the job. Mark's theme on Monday, I guess, but he's been talking about it a bit this week. We talk about a regenerative system, and that's part of what we do with our food in the hog harvest charcuterie and the pastured poultry class, which is coming up in June, is not only showcase the animal, but good evening, Inga, but showing how it's a tool for health. Because the food that you raise on your homestead is totally about health. we have this idea in a regenerative farming system, and it's also the tool that I use in my health coaching, is that what you need is always around you. If you need it, it's there. If you don't see it at the moment, that's okay. Believe that it's there. It will show up. So, our food is part of our regenerative system. We give the animals the scraps, the animals eat the grass, they manure back into the ground to enrich the soil, the grass grows better, the animals eat it. We harvest the animals, but we use the whole animal. So we eat the meat, we eat the organs, use the bones for bone broth. If there is skin involved, we throw it in the bone broth, or we use leftover parts for dog food. Um, Chicken parts go to the pigs, beef goes to the pigs, extra pig parts go in the compost pile. All of their manure that we gather through the winter goes in. It just makes a circle. It goes around and around so that everything is regenerative. Everything the farm needs is right here. And the better we get at managing it, that's our job, is to learn how to be the good stewards and to manage it, the better it works and the richer the whole system is. So this past month, I've been teaching a kitchen medicine class, and we've been focusing on the kitchen because Ayurveda has a lot to talk about with food and kitchen. Digestion is one of Ayurveda's big tools. We talk a lot about digestion, and the kitchen is obviously a key part of that. What you need for health is actually in your kitchen, probably in your kitchen right now. It's just a matter of knowing how to use it. Just like outside on the farm, on the homestead, it's all there. We just have to learn how to use it. And the same is true for your health in your kitchen. It's all there. It's just knowing how to use it. One of the biggest things that we've kept coming back to, it's where we started and we keep coming back to it, is lifeful food. When we do the food for the charcuterie class this weekend, we are going to do lifeful food. Primarily, that involves then meat and vegetables. Meat and vegetables and more meat and vegetables. We'll do a little bit of bread, and Rachel's going to make pie with lard because it's a treat for us. And I mean, come on, pie crust with lard. You have to do it. Part of the deal, though, is that we're using the lard. It's something that's around us, and it's here all the time. There's two keys to a lifeful diet. I mean, all the diets in the world, right? You got the Mediterranean diet. You got, I don't know, that's the one that jumps out the most as a fad diet. But there's the grapefruit diet. There's, people go vegetarian and vegan. Or on the other end of the things, you've got keto and carnivore. And what's the right diet? What superfood should you be eating? And usually, by the way, there's an ad at the end that will sell you this superfood in a powdered form. Forget it all. Two keys to your diet. A couple more than two. But to make it super simple, eat food that is alive, meaning it's fresh, local, and seasonal. As fresh as possible. And like fresh right now in northern Michigan means that our meat is either hanging, stored in fat, and you get to see how we do our confit and taste it in the class if you're coming this weekend. So it's preserved outside or fermented. That's basically what a dry cured sausage is fermented meat. The vegetables, we've got squash out of the root cellar. We've got, I would consider broccoli still okay. It's in the freezer, which isn't super great, but it is what it is. Then we got sauerkraut, we got kimchi, all the fermented vegetables, pickles. We're going to have pickled beets, which we had to buy because I didn't make, but I could have. And then we'd have had them. So they are fresh. They're definitely local to our area. We're not going to import bananas. We are not going to have fruit salad. because that's neither local nor seasonal at all. Um, they're not processed. They're not highly processed. All those powders and pills that people are selling you are highly processed, and you lose a lot as soon as you put it in a pill. One of the things that Ayurveda teaches, we talk about a balanced diet by 6 tastes. If you put it in a pill, your stomach doesn't taste a blessed thing. You only taste things in your mouth. So if you are just swallowing all of your main nutrition, the things that are really you're relying on to keep you healthy, in a pill or a highly processed powder, you are missing out on a lot of power. Plus, you're paying a whole lot of money. As soon as you make your food fresh, local, seasonal, you immediately up the life value, the quantity of life in your food. The enzymes haven't been completely killed. They haven't separated out the nutrients so that you lose all of the complementary small pieces that make a particular vitamin or mineral bioavailable to your body. One of the other cool things about the way nature packages food is on the food, just like on your skin, you host an entire zoo on your skin, and you need it there, or you're not healthy. Your food has the same thing, and all of that microbiome on the outside of your food is essential for you. So as soon as you pull the vitamin C out of a carrot and put it in a pill, you immediately lose all the other trace things that are in that carrot that help your body digest the vitamin C. Or it's A, excuse me. A is in carrots. But you also lose all of the wonderful, glorious things that are on the skin of that carrot, assuming, of course, it's an organic carrot, so it doesn't have unwanted things on the outside of it. But that's all a package deal. Nature packages things. Do you find corn oil in nature? No, never. What about sunflower oil? Never. Canola oil? Safflower oil? The ubiquitous vegetable oil? Never. Those are not naturally made things. Those aren't naturally occurring things in nature. What are naturally occurring things? Unprocessed oils your body can use. Butter, ghee, lard, tallow, duck fat, chicken fat. These are naturally occurring fats, and it's a lie that those vegetable oils are healthy for you. I've been listening to this great guy, Dr. It's an Indian name, and now I can't remember what it is. So if you want it, let me know, and I'll find it later and post it in the chat. But he's a cardiologist, and he was talking about how polyunsaturated fats, all the vegetable oils, negatively impact your body because they are highly processed. They are as dead as a doornail. There's no life in them, and the nutrients are not readily bioavailable. That creates challenges in your system. They also throw your omega-3 and omega-6 balance out of whack, which makes your hormones go out of whack. Insulin, even though it's an oil, your insulin is affected by the fat. All of that affects your thyroid hormones, your weight, your metabolism, all affected by that. So processed foods are not lifeful. Just get rid of them, and you're on your way to the best diet for you. The other big key thing is sugar. Taste of Ayurveda, sweet is a taste, and you do need it. Also, Sugar, whether it's raw cane sugar, maple sugar, honey, stevia, that's a very small part of actually the whole class of sweet foods. Sweet foods include meat, dairy, the root vegetables. Those have a lot of sweet in them. Um, there's a lot of other foods. All of your fruits have a lot of sweet taste in them. There's a lot of places to get that taste that are very satisfying, and don't do the crazy things that sugar does to your body. Now, layer in on top of not only too much sugar, processed grains. Grains are a sweet, they taste sweet. Um, and you get a double whammy. This kills. If you have problems with fertility, the explosion in our culture, maybe not in our crowd, because you guys are all wonderful, but the explosion of the need for Viagra, the explosion of diabetes, of anxiety, all of these things track back, thyroid, cancer, you name it. It tracks back to inflammation in the body, and inflammation that comes from diet, particularly, and well, it's one thing, but the stresses of highly processed sugar and salt. Um, almost all processed foods, uh, restaurant foods, deli foods, you name it, outside of what you cook in your kitchen, have a ton of salt and sugar. When you get an excess of sweet and salty taste, it creates an insatiable greed in you. You have emotions that are attached to all these different flavor tastes, which is really fun because when we talk about kitchen medicine, when you notice that you are feeling angry, you've probably had too much pungent taste, too much garlic, onion, mustard, hot peppers that can create too much fire in your system. Anger. This overabundance of the sweet taste, you may notice that you feel insatiable. You just can't get enough. You have to have more, right? You can identify that. Too much salt results in a feeling of greed. So, too much salt, too much sugar in your food, and you have an insatiable greed. They know this. They put it in there on purpose, and it screws up your body totally. So, regenerative tools. You have what you need around you. And what you have is the food that you can raise or that the farmers around you can raise. So, even if you don't have the ability to raise a lot of your food, go to a farmer's market, see what's going on. You can find out on the internet what is local to your area and just get that food out of the grocery store. You also found that it satisfies you because you're not creating this insatiable greed in your system, and you're very satisfied. And you'll be amazed at how much food you don't need when you are just eating delightful food that's fresh, local, and seasonal. Kitchen medicine. That's medicine for you. So, pretty simple. We've had a great time this last month learning about that. I've had a great time teaching. And this week we had a couple of cases where we really pulled it together and talked about these tastes. And the more that you learn about it, the more fun it is. So I will probably redo this again, and I'll let you know when I'm going to do it. And I'd love to have a bunch of people join me. And if you come to a class here on the farm, you get to not only ask questions, but you get to experience it, because that's how I design the menus, is with a lot of this stuff in mind. So you get a chance to see how it works in a very practical way, in a very real way, because we are real people with real life. We're not like guru monks sitting on a mountaintop somewhere. And this is all we do. No, we're real people with real lives, and we really eat the food that we raise, which is why I was also so very happy about doing the beef. And we have a freezer full of it. And when I get done here, I'm actually going to go strain off the tallow that I've got rendering. And we're going to be sharing all of this stuff. So, yeah, Wellness Wednesday, eat real food, and enjoy abundance in your life. Mark's going to come answer your questions. If you have questions for me, throw them in there too, and I'm happy to share what I know. If you are interested, we have our classes on the anyonecanfarmexperience.com, and they're on bakersgreenacres.com, so you can catch them either way. Come to the farm. Oh yeah, Brittany. I have a bunch graded up, or not graded, ground. So next time you need beef, Brittany, let us know. We do have shares available. Our CSA chicken shares. We start chicks in a week and a half, 2 weeks. We're going to be starting chicks already. It does not seem time. So, and we're going to be raising chickens for people. We have a half a pig available because tomorrow, Friday, the guys are going to process the 2 pigs for the class and a third one because we have someone who wants a half. So then we have another half. We also have a lot of burger. We're happy to share that. Mark doesn't share his steaks. So if you want a steak, you have to come see us. Maybe this summer stay in the campground. It'll be there. So, yeah. If you have questions, put them in caps because it's easier to see them. And Mark's going to take over, tell you what he's been doing today, and answer your questions.
Not sure if you really needed me tonight.
Just talking until you show up.
What's that?
Your turn.
Okay. Greetings. All right, we're both tired. Jill and I are both tired. Had a long day. Got some bright lights on me here. All right. So here I am. Today's, let's see, just for March 2nd. I forgot to say yesterday that it was March 1st. I forgot all about that. March 2nd, 2022. It's a Wednesday. I'm starting to think seriously about this class coming up on Saturday. So I got 2 more days to get everything prepped out that I need to do. Friday, we're going to be knocking pigs down. I'm going to knock 2 big ones down that we're going to use for the class, for the charcuterie class. Tomorrow, I have to put the finishing touches on the hanging room. Today, I got it just about complete, got it all wired up. So I have lights in there now, and I have a plug in there to run our climate control, and got it all sealed up. I got the door on just before I came up for the night. And I came up at 6:30. Had something to eat, and now here it is, 8:30. Wow, time flies really fast. Well, last night after I finished the show, went and flopped right into bed. Yeah, it was a good night's sleep. I don't know. I have just really gotten to a place where I am able to focus on what I am doing, and not look out there into the world and all the craziness. I mean, just 3 weeks ago it was Omicron, and now we have the Russians. I don't care. I don't want to know. I mean, it's just dumb. So let's talk about things that are important and things that apply to us, and help each other on this journey that we have. I think what we want to be able to do is create things that are beautiful and wonderful and cool. Let's do that, right? So, I am here to answer your questions, whatever they may be, and looking forward to doing it. Got a new toy here, and it's this. I told you about it, but I didn't monkey with it today, and I probably don't want to do it while I'm live. But all right, yeah, me and Joe worked pretty hard today, clearing all the beef off the tables down there. And the only thing that has to be done tomorrow is a lot of the bones have to be chopped up and bagged up so that we can make bone broth out of them. That's one of our mainstays here. I am back on my carnivore diet, and I'm doing really well. No problems. Once I go back on it, I don't feel like eating anything else. I'm just fine. Is it okay for a guy to feel feminine? No, it isn't. Okay, Brittany says we should have ordered some tallow from you, even just a little bit. Yeah, tallow meaning beef fat. We had some beef. It was amazing. Right on. All right, Keith is with us. Hi, Keith. Mike Oxsoft. Hi, James. Not much. Just about to tuck into a nice piece of toast lathered in truffle butter. How about you? Haven's with us. Right on. Well, Haven, get us going with some questions here. What do you think would be some things that people need to know about? Oh, by the way, I found out that I don't know if you know him, but what's his name? Craig Schaff is going to be joining us Tribe Day, right? He's going to be joining us and doing, I think, seed saving, or maybe one of his other usual things.
And leather tanning.
Oh, seed saving and leather tanning. Wow.
Yeah, leather tanning for the kids.
Leather tanning for kids. Okay. Pretty neat. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a good day. Good day. We had a great time last time. Is there any tea left?
Yeah, Crystal's going to do goats too.
Oh, Crystal's going to do goats. This is going to be nice. If you guys want to meet Hidden Creek people, they'll be here talking about goats. I wonder if they're going to bring some. I might be doing a goat butchering class. I get a bad rap about not liking goats. It's not that I inherently don't like goats. It's just that there's so many other animals that I like better. So they're kind of at the bottom of the rung. I'm thinking about getting some sheep. Just kind of round things out. I have a lot of grass to eat. I have a lot of area that is grassy, but there's would be difficult to eat in there, or it's even difficult for the cows to get in there. So that might be a nice thing to do. I'll bring you some goats to keep. Right on. Do that. Maybe bring them and we'll do some butchering. Inga, okay. On Tribe Day, will you do a different class every hour? Yes, but not for the whole day. Well, yeah. I mean, we have a couple classes in the morning, and then we have lunch, which is a communal thing that lasts a lot longer than just a quick hour lunch. And then, and then we go to other, they're not really classes. They're just like presentations, very loose. It's whatever somebody does and they want to share. And, I've gone to classes where people are doing it for a year and they're explaining it. And I've been doing it for like 15 years, but it's fun to get their take on it and they're excited about it and all that stuff. It's really cool. That's really how you learn stuff, is when you teach it. That really is it. Because when you have to do some preparation to explain the nuts and bolts of it, that's when you're like, oh, I missed this last time. No, now I get it. Sort of like what we got going on this weekend, this charcuterie class. The very first one that we did, I approached it as, well, these are the cuts that we make. But I didn't really approach it like I did last night through doing some preparation where it's more of a refining process. I'm taking a raw product and refining it into something far more, I'll just use the word valuable. And we say valuable, and we think dollars, but not necessarily. I think we kind of have to get away from that one track mindset that value is always measured in dollars. And I told you, I traded a prosciutto for trout, you know, and I had thrown a dollar value on it, and Laura Greenbean came down here with 60 pounds of trout. So she gave me far more than I had asked for, and instead of getting it in dollars, which dollars are all right, but I can only get so much stuff around here in dollars. But if you know somebody that lives on Beaver Island, they can get you nice trout fillets. That's just what I had for dinner again tonight. Yes, I did. Rant about the terrible modern gas cans. Rant about how terrible modern gas cans are. I've got one I've been meaning to send your way that actually lets you pour out fuel without spilling it everywhere. Slipping it out everywhere. Slipping it out everywhere without slipping it everywhere. Spilling. All right. I tell you what, the new gas cans, the things that they make that go on them, they're supposed to be made so that it's safer, so you don't spill them, and they get you so frustrated that you wind up taking it off and dumping the gas in there, and you spill it everywhere anyway. Ah, terrible, terrible. That's I don't know. I don't know who mandates that. Mandates. There's that mandate word again, but I hate them. And then you go and you can get easements, right? But they never quite thread correctly. Nope, they don't. Not in my experience. I used to have a lot of gas cans around here that when I needed fuel, I would be loading up a pile of gas cans onto the truck and going and getting it. And that was actually in one of Joel Salatin's book. He kind of discouraged people from having fuel on the farm. A big tank, a fuel tank, a tank that's made for gasoline, and then another tank that's made for diesel. And I kind of bought into that for a while, many years. And I think it was just about 5 years ago I put my tanks in. There was a diesel tank when I got here, and I scrounged a gasoline tank. I cleaned them up the best I could and painted them. So the gas is red and the diesel is green. They look really nice sitting side by side. And then I've got pumps on them that you crank like this, and it pumps the fuel out. And when I have gasoline delivered to the farm, I'm getting it far cheaper than it is at the pump. Far cheaper. And even with the delivery charge, it is really a good savings. And I usually get the tanks topped off, so they're both close to 300-gallon tanks. So when they get down low, about a third, I'll just make a call, and they show up, and then they send us a bill. And it's always a pleasant surprise, really. Gas cans have become more expensive and less useful. Yeah. Even the really cool ones, that they had at Ebel's for a little while, they look like the ones that you'd be fueling up a race car with. They're even cumbersome. They just don't really work that good. They just don't. So it's a lot better if I just pull up alongside of the the tanks and fill up the diesel fuel and, tractor with diesel and whatever I got to fill up with gasoline. So yeah, that's going pretty good. The EPA did that. They suck. They should do away with the EPA along with the USDA. They should just do away with them. Let's just make all those people go away and get jobs. So anyway, I'm still pretty psyched. I think I may have shifted a little bit thanks to my brother Jack. I may have believed that my source of optimism was that there was just going to be a great thing to happen. But I think the great thing is we can control a lot of what goes on in our circle by just, this is how I choose to live. Therefore, that's how it is. And I mean, there's always things that are out of our control. We had an ice storm the other day. That's out of my control. Plenty of things out of my control. But the things that are in my control, I can make them how I would like, or work towards that end. And I think that is a very optimistic way of thinking about things. Control the things you can, and don't sweat about the things that you can't. And I gotta say, Jack, I've been listening to Owen Benjamin, and my son listens to him, and boy, the guy makes a lot of sense. There's always this left-right paradigm that's going on, and both sides. I mean, one side you identify with more, but they never really offer any solutions to the problems that they love to bring up and say, it's them, vote for us. But once we vote for them, they don't change anything. So it's like the politicians are a lost cause almost, or they are a lost cause. And, the American society being like a chain of people, we just have to be who we need to be. We just have to do that thing, do life, and live it the way we want our society to be, and create beautiful things, and live a valiant lifestyle. A life of integrity. I think that's the way to go. I really do. Because if we're going to wait around, let's wait around 2024, re-elect President Trump, and I know I've gone through a metamorphosis, right? Because I was like, things were going good during Trump. But when that guy was elected, I voted for him just because I hated Hillary Clinton's guts. But that's part of the left-right scenario. A guy like me is going to hate her guts, and do I like to listen to Trump, for like a whole one of his speech? No, I don't. It's I've heard it before. I think I'd rather have him as the president, but I'm not going to wait around till 2024 to prosper in my own biosphere, doing what I can do. In a lot of ways, all this stuff that they're creating, from Omicron to, the Russians and all the stuff that they create, it just makes our mission that much more urgent, to enable people to live a meaningful lifestyle, I guess, through homesteading. We're not just saying be men of integrity. As far as what? Like the way we make our beds in the morning, our hourly job. I was talking last night about compromise. It was a short piece at the end, but that's what I wanted to talk about. if, let's say, you go to work for a company, you may feel very strongly about a life of integrity and honesty and uprightness and values and things like that. But the company may have something else in mind, and they want you to do a certain thing. And so you are expected a lot of times to compromise. And that's part of the job. And a lot of times people will say, well, hey, I'm just doing my job, you know, and then you work yourself into a position where they can ask you to compromise even more, right? And I'm just doing my job. Um, and I kind of preface that with the way that our life is on the homestead is we don't have to compromise, and we can go further and further into an area of no compromise. Um, a lot of you, I think, would probably find Owen Benjamin be a little bit on the crass side, but there's a reason he is crass. From what I understand, his things started. He was a very successful comedian. I guess he was other things too, but he was killing it as a comedian in Hollywood and Vegas and stuff. And then he used the word retard. And he had a lucrative book deal, and they said, well, don't say retard anymore. And he was just like, what? You can't tell a comedian what not to say. I'm a comedian. We make fun of everybody. And so he stuck to his guns, and he's like, no, retard, 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 retard. And they pulled the book deal, and then he was scourged in Hollywood. And, getting thrown out of Hollywood, it's almost like that's probably the kind of guy I'd want to hang around with. And he's had some views that are quite contrary to the heroes that show up in our orbit. They just show up. I didn't ask for him. I didn't care who Jordan Peterson was, some Canadian guy. I don't know. And then you find out why he's a hero. Oh, okay, because he wouldn't do the thing. He wouldn't succumb to compelled speech. Compelled speech being you have to get out there and say that transgenderism is a good thing. Not a good thing. It's a great thing. And he says, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. You can maybe tell me I can't slam him, but I'm not gonna say that. And I guess he lost his job at McGill or some other university in Canada, and it made him kind of famous. Then he just kind of interjected into our lives, and then he was on Rogan, and I don't know. The whole thing is starting to seem a little bit contrived to me. The whole left-right scenario. I was kind of geeked about the whole trucker thing, and in the end, they compromised. So now we have the trucker thing going on in the United States. What's the goal? Here, do you just want to have a little rally going across the country and peeping your horns? What's the goal? I don't know. I really don't know. I would like to get excited about it, but I really don't see it. It just seems a bit contrived. So I would be pretty crestfallen if I didn't have something to fall back on, and it's been here all the time. I've been on this homestead throughout that time, and I have a clear set of goals that I want to accomplish, and that's what I need to focus on. That's where I'm at. If you are wondering why I'm not talking about any of the political things that used to kind of intrigue me for many years, they intrigued me. They really don't anymore. They really don't. I think that I have an optimistic personality, and when somebody throws something out there that is reason for optimism, then I have a tendency to go towards that. But we'll see. It doesn't do me any good to convince you guys of optimism on the world scene Does it? Unless you're feeling like, oh, woe is me, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Then it's time for me to step in and say, create your own little world and try to spend as much time in that little world as you possibly can, and keep your attitude up, your vibration high, whatever that means. I don't know. But instead of having your, your chin in the dirt, that's no good. And I don't know. I think that optimism is a good thing. It's catchy. Okay, what do I got here? Okay. Do you remember me bringing up Owen after the first Rogue Food Conference, or did you find him on your own recently? I don't remember that. I don't. I'm not saying that it didn't, but uh, I found Owen because Jack sent it to my messenger and said, "You need to check this out." And it was like, "You need to check this out." And I was like, "Yes, sir. I'll get that and when I can." And I did. And it was kind of a breath of fresh air, but you may find him a bit crass. But he hammers points home pretty well. Pretty well. You kind of start getting it after a while. Uh, the one that I listened to that my son Kyle sent me says, "Man, you got to hear this." Wow. He's claiming that a lot of the operations that are around us constantly, the operations to sway our intellect and to get us to think a certain way, the mind controls are like black magic, spells actually. So certain words have certain powers. If you say certain words, it gets people who it doesn't really even apply to, it gets them really upset, right? And then the people who supposedly that applies to, they don't care about it. They call each other that all the time, right? It's such a powerful word that if I were to say it here, people would be offended. But where does the power that goes into that word come from? Where does that come from? So he claims, and I think this is true, I've seen this, is when you mock these things, you break the power that it has. Like when, let's see, what's some of the things that we mock? Oh, this thing that's going on in Ukraine right now. A lot of people are just buying right into it from the same media that's been lying to you about COVID and everything else. Now they're telling you, "Ooh, Russians bad," and they're invading. And maybe they are, but maybe there's a good reason for it. And maybe you should just shut up and watch what happens. But people are getting it like they want to arm up and go there, really stupid. And to think that the whole thing isn't planned, you would have to think that COVID wasn't planned, because you're seeing the systematic closing down of shipping companies' availability to Russian customers. It's just being shut right off because we hate the Russians for what they're doing to Ukraine. It's so stupid, but it's going to create problems, just like the trucker thing created problems, and this is going to create problems, food and stuff like that. It is, but the root issue, it's not my problem. It just isn't, And what good is it going to do for me um, to get all wrapped around the axle about, we need to do something about Vladimir Putin. We need to do something. We're getting a new Great Pyrenees puppy, and the kids want to name him Putin. And I'm like, good, fine. Mock the whole thing. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. I said on Facebook today, I have a bottle of Russian dressing in my refrigerator. Should I throw it out? If I don't, does that mean I'm aligned with Vladimir Putin? And you mock it, and people say he's making fun of this. Damn right I am. It's stupid. Can you believe anything that the mainstream media says? Anything? I don't think you can. All right. So anyway, it's tough to listen to sometimes. Owen is tough to listen to because he takes a long time to get things out. But I have long believed that a lot of what we see around us is untrue. It's not the way they say it is. You just have to look at it. And then there's the other side of it. They pull these operations, and then they don't even cover their tracks very well. So you can pick it up pretty quick to figure out that it's fake. And it causes frustration in the society, and that frustration leads to a lower vibration and less confidence in the country and this and that and the other thing. It's by design, I think. Now I'm starting to think it's by design. Some of the things that we've seen that just seem, can't everybody see that? They can't, but they could have done these false flags much more effectively, so no one would see them. So no one would know the difference. But it's kind of out there in the open. Susan Grievous. Hi, all. Been a while since I've been on, and she says she's with me. Well, that's good to know. You saw my mockery today, didn't you? And when I broke away from that, gee, I got to see what's going on. I mean, it wasn't just, how many days ago was it? It's like I woke up in the middle of the night and came out, and it's like I'm not going to sleep. But if I read something for a little while, I get sleepy, and I'm reading that, oh, geez, Russia invaded Ukraine. And at first it was like, well, this isn't good. This ain't good. But then you find out more about it, and it's none of our business, whatever they do. There's more to the story. So it's in a very short time. It's like, I don't care. All right. Angus saying, yes, Hidden Creek did a raffle with all the donated items. Every item had a mason jar by it that people could put their $1 ticket in. It was highly successful. All right. Oh, that we should do that. You're saying we should do. I'll send some free product with Lee and Crystal for a raffle. What do you mean you'll send? You're not going to come? Do we have to send a vehicle for you? Inga, you haven't been here, and I think you need to. We could do a classroom thing. That would be fun. I was telling you about that last night. We're getting that baby going. We are getting it going. All right. We were just talking about this week about plans to move ahead with that again. Yeah. We feel like of all the things that we're doing, that seems to be a priority, because if there's a big surge of people that find Baker's Green Acres and realize, hey, there's some instructions that are going on there that are useful to our survival, and people have that sense of urgency, we'd be smart to have that part of the operation built out. See, right now when we do classes, it's just kind of on the farm. We have the butcher shop, and there's not a lot of room in there. It's a butcher shop, it's not a an exhibition hall. It's just a small butcher shop. And when you have 12 people in there, plus me and Jill and maybe a couple of the kids doing hospitality, it's tight. So the idea of the classroom is what it's being called right here. It's more of a It's a kitchen. So because we're feeding people 3 times a day for a couple 3 days, and then a full size dining room, which could be used as a lecturing area, or it could be used as a teaching area. It could also be used as just a dining room, which we need. And also, like if people need a break from the shop, like they want to go and make some notes in their notebook or something like that, it'd be a good place. Hey, it's warm. You can go in there, get a cup of coffee, sit down, maybe get away from the crowd for a minute, and would relieve having to bring people into the house because the house is kind of small, and so we got 14 people, 15, 16 people in the house. It's pretty tight. Well, it's cozy, but it's kind of tight. And then the hospitality staff is just working with a really small kitchen up here. And this kitchen, we want this one to be like, a 6-burner stove with double ovens, and so they can cook for a large group of people. That's the idea. And so we talked about that yesterday, and everybody's in agreement that that is what needs to be a little bit of a priority. It needs to be the priority. The store is a priority as well. I mean, it has to happen. Here's what happens when you don't have a store building that people can go in and take what they want and leave, is they have to come here and find somebody. And that can be, that's a pain. It's a pain to us because, oh yeah, how you doing? We'll talk. Oh, sorry, and it'd be much easier if the store was just there, parking area right in front. You pull up, go and get what you want. Method of payment, however that's going to happen, and then you just drive right out. That'd be much more the way that we want things to be. We've got a lot of things that we can put in there in the merchandise and all that stuff. All right. So what do we got for questions here? Not much. Jill's saying she was thinking of Susan today as she was cutting beef. Susan posted some pictures on the tribe of her bacons that came off the smoker, and they look pretty good. Pretty darn good. All right. You guys, not real talkative crowd tonight. Let's see. Don't have anything on the stack. I'm at a loss for words. Make note of this day. So here's what I'll do. Tomorrow, when I finish up on the hanging room and I'm getting stuff in there, I will make a video so you all can have a look at it, and I'll post it up on the tribe. If you're not a member of the tribe, just go over to the Anyone Can Farm tribe on Facebook and humbly request acceptance. We'll do a thorough investigation on you, and then we'll maybe let you in. But the idea there is that any of your projects that you're working on, like when Susan did her bacons today, she posted pictures of them, and it's pretty exciting, for people that, you mean you can do that yourself? It's pretty exciting because Susan's a city girl, and she's just learning how to do a lot of these things. I think she's done that before, but I don't think she ever cut up a beef before, right? And that was new. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. We had 2 of them here that needed to be all cut, ground. I still have the loins to do. Yeah. All right. First one. Yep. All right. You must be off tonight. Did you find anybody to milk for you? Yep. Post all the things, classes people will be teaching on the Tribe Day on Anyone Can Farm Facebook page. Is that in order? I'll get on that right away. I'll just pass that on to my second in command. Do you go to livestock auction? I do not. I do not. I went one time and wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. I remember I went there because we had an overage of pigs, and we wanted to see if we could sell some of them at the auction. And pigs were going so cheap that I thought I would have stood around here all day to basically give my product away. It's pretty sad. But if you went there and you were buying, that would be a different story. You could bring home some animals really cheap. I mentioned this last night. I say this a lot, that there's money laying all over the ground here, and people don't see it. Um, Animals are plentiful across the fruited plain. People have raised beef, and they had plans to get them into processing, but those plans were dashed against the rocks because of the evil COVID-19, and now the value of those animals has gone down dramatically because you have to feed them. So when they're in the freezer, you're not feeding them anymore, but that's not happening. So if you possess the skills to process animals, you can write your own ticket right now. If you have a butcher shop, you can also write your own ticket. You really can. There's a lot of money laying around on the ground out there right now. A whole lot of money laying around. You just got to be able to do what it takes to render it down into what it needs to be. Old ball and chainify. Old ball and chainify. I would like to say I have been watching for a while, but the first live, and I want to say thank you a lot, resonates with me. Okay. I'm glad that I can be of service. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. What is it exactly that resonates with you? I don't know if I'd listen to me. I don't know. Anyway. All right, we're over an hour. I guess I'll just say, all right, Vindicti's with us. Cool. Dave Smith's with us. Susan Greaves is with us. Old ball and chainify. Old ball and chainify. I'm pretty excited about the season that's coming up, the season that's coming up. I'm very excited about it. Got a lot of neat things that are coming. And, I plan to take on some really sizable projects. And, the farm's going to be a better place to be once they're up and running and, making more profit and turning out more stuff and turning more people on to farming and all kinds of stuff like that. I'm real excited about it. And meeting with the people. I always like meeting with the people. All right. Well, if that's it for Wednesday night Q&A, then that's it. I'm going to get going. Got a long day tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Hope everybody hangs in there, and remember that anyone can farm.